Okay, now that we talked about data collection, we will talk about competitor analysis for first. And what we will do is, the first thing, we will see what competition means, sources of competitor data, talk about the competitive hierarchy, levels of competition, and Porter's 5 forces. This is actually broken up into 2 parts, and you have a workshop to do in a little while. Now, the first thing I like to do is just a definition in general about marketing competition. It's a contest in which the winner is selected from 2 or more entrants. You could apply that to any competition, or actually to looking at your competitors and yourselves and seeing who through their marketing campaign comes up trumps. And it's existence of rival products or services within the same market, which makes sense. So, if you look at Travelodge, then you look at who your competitors are. You have your rival products or services on the same market, because you might be targeting the same customers. There are some examples here. So you've got Sega versus Sony, a bit of an older example. In computer games, you've got Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, which is still going on. And I have to say, if I have to drink one of them, I'm a Coca-Cola girl. McDonald's versus Burger King. Again, if I have to, I'm afraid it has to be Burger King. Tesco's versus Sainsbury's. Smartphones versus traditional mobiles, maybe. Still. Microsoft versus Apple. And even though I'm using a so-called normal laptop, I'm an Apple girl as well, as I said in the earlier lesson. And then you had some other developments a few years ago where Adidas buys out Reebok, and then Nike sues Adidas for that as well. Very nice. You have something that's called CIS, Competitor Intelligence System, basically where you ask yourself certain questions about your competitors in order to come up with a strategy. So who are our competitors? So, very important. What are their strategies? Are they effective, and how effective are they? If you can, what are their marketing objectives? What are their strengths and weaknesses? You can see what they're, are they targeting the right audience? Are they targeting the wrong audience? Are they putting too much money into their campaigns? Don't they spend enough money on their marketing campaigns? What are their core competencies? So what are they good at? What do they do right? How do they react to competitive behavior? What do they do when you all of a sudden start putting up a new marketing campaign and maybe start encroaching into their market? How do they react? Are they reactive, or are they proactive as well? Which markets do they dominate? So again, where do their customers come from? And what type of organization are they? So are they in your sort of, if you look at Travelodge budget hotel line, are they maybe a competitor, but they are in a different segment of the market, which nowadays, and especially with regards to recession, a lot of hotels obviously have started offering cheaper rates as well, and they've started to attract, if you look at 5-star hotels or business hotels, they've started to attract leisure travelers as well, because they couldn't fill the hotels with business travelers anymore due to job losses and companies making less money and not being able to afford to send their employees on business trips, or managers not going on business trips as well. Now, what you have to do, obviously, when you assess your competitors, you have to look at their customer base. So, what are their customers? Who are they? What's their market share? How big are they? What markets do they target? Their cash flow, product range, distribution systems, strengths, weaknesses. So, all of that comes under strengths and weaknesses. You then also have to, what are their objectives? What turns them on, so to speak. What are their long versus short-term objectives? So what drives their behavior? What do they do? And also, what exactly are their objectives? Are they profitability? Are they market share? Are they market leadership? What do they do? Why do they do the campaigns they do? Why do they market themselves the way they market them as well? You need to do that to understand the marketing environment, to understand where you have to go, what you have to do, what you can do to gain competitive advantage over your competitors as well. What do you do better? What are your objectives as well? You have to look at these things in addition to that as well. You can find this, we talked about data collection, so I'm just going to very quickly go over this. But obviously there are a lot of sources. So you've got observable data. So you've got their prices, advertising, do they have any applications pending for patents, planning applications? Do they want to extend? Do they want to become bigger? Do they want to build a swimming pool, spa, anything? And then, buying and analysing competitors' products. Again, you've got industry shopper. You can send someone into another hotel and then they just stay there and see what do they do. What do they do better than us? What don't they do as good as we do? So I used the Brighton example before where I went to other open days. We talked about recorded data, so I'm not going to mention that again. And opportunistic data, so obviously from your suppliers, customers, distributors. They all have something to say. They all have some opinion as well. Exhibitions, great, a way to suss out your competition. Conferences as well. Collect their newsletters or go online and read their newsletters as well. Disgruntled employees, so it's always a bit risky because obviously as an employee you're not supposed to tell tales. And headhunting competitors' managers, and this is something a lot of people do as well. The headhunting nowadays in this very competitive market. You then have your competitive hierarchy. Okay, so you've got your market leaders there. The ones that sit there. They always maybe come up with new products. They're very innovative. They've got the biggest market share, stuff like that. You've got people that challenge these people. The leaders. So I'm striving to. I'm almost there with my market share, with my geographical spread. I want to challenge you for leadership. You've got, then they have the followers, the ones that just, they just do what everyone else does. And then you've got your niche market, which in a way it's a good thing to do if you can afford it, if you specialize in certain products. But again, you have to see if it's, do you make money? Is the market big enough for you to be a niche operator as well? And obviously, what are your criteria to define someone as a challenger, follower, leader, or niche operator? You can be a niche operator, but within the niche operator, you can be a leader as well. So you can actually funnel it down even more. So if you look at the budget hotel market, who's the leader there? Who's the challenger? So if Travelodge is the market leader, who's your challenger? Who's just a follower, and who's got a certain niche market there as well. And then, and I'm not going to go into too much detail here because I want you to do an exercise with this, but there are 4 levels of competition. And basically it's all about your customers and your products, and whether your customers are different or similar to what your competition offers, and whether your product is similar or different to what your competition offers. So where you look at direct competitors, for example, up here, you're offering obviously a similar product to a similar customer base. So you serve the same target group. Then if you, for example, indirect competitors, you have similar customers but you have a different product. So you offer different products to the same consumer group. So is it just can they actually, does it have an impact on your business? Then you've got different customers, but this again is similar product to your competition. Is the product competitors? So you've got maybe 3-4 different target markets, but you're offering a similar product. And who are your consumer groups? And you know your competition might think, oh, they've got a bigger spread, oh, they might become a market leader here, you know, for our product. Oh, well, what am I going to do? How can we challenge this? And then you've got your different customers and different products where you have implicit competitors. So you look at the same, a wide range of organizations of competitors, but also looking at a different range of spending power. So you don't just look at your budget market, you don't just look at your luxury market, you don't just look at your retirees or your singles. You target a wide range of people there, and with this you can obviously do what's the diversification here as well. And what I want you to do now is just to think about this, and also think about competitive advantage, because this actually plays in with this as well. And think about the 4 categories I just mentioned, I just explained. And I'd like you to think, and you probably know who they are, but who do you think Travelodge's competitors are? Name maybe a couple, 1 or 2 for each category, and use the discussion forum for this. Okay, I've set this up for you. You know where the discussion forum is now, so I'm not going to show it to you again. And we take it from there.